Hey y'all, I am back. I hope you have had a great week. I hope you are doing well. How do you feel so far? We've knocked out our first week in 2025 and I'm feeling pretty good. I am feeling pretty good. Um, I started 75 hard last week and I am consistent. This is my second time doing 75 hard with Tia over at Tia V Fitness on Instagram. She also has a website, tiavfitness.com. So if you are interested in participating, I think she plans on doing this again this year. But even if you're not a part of our group, jump in and do it. I started 75 hard last year. The first time I did it all the way through was last July. I think we finished up in September, and it was challenging. It was hard. I'm not gonna, say that it wasn't, but I really enjoyed it. And so now I'm on my second time around at 75 hard. And what I'm focused on in 75 hard this time is the working out is not my issue. It is what I put in my mouth. It's the food that I eat and monitoring and tracking that. So I have my food scale and I'm committed to entering in every single morsel of what I'm having throughout this time so that I get in the habit of it and so that I know. Because as she says, you need to track everything, even the healthy foods. So I know, like, dang girl, you just jumping right in talking about what you're doing with your working out. But yeah, it's important to share that because I'm a whole person. There are layers to all of us. We're not just one-sided. And so, yeah, I felt compelled to share because that's what's been going on. That's one of the focuses that I've had in this first week of 2025. So last week was our introductory episode, and I shared a little of what this time and this space is all about, killing the things that no longer serve me, so that I can move forward into a space where I'm supposed to be. And I've been doing that, I would like to say, throughout, intentionally doing that throughout this decade, from 38 to 48. And so as I move into 50, that's not to say that we no longer have any challenges, because that's a fallacy. That is totally and completely incorrect. There are always going to be challenges, but it's about how quickly we are able to recover and move through those challenges and to be still in those challenges, even if those things don't go away, to still show up as our best selves, because you can't build your faith if there's nothing to test it, right? So let's jump in and talk about the year that was 2024. Picture it. Georgia, March 2024. But literally, when I share this with you, you'll be like, girl, what? Excuse me? What? Let me take a sip of water. I'm not sipping tea, girl. We got to sip water for this. So I had therapy. And I want to say that I can't remember exactly. And I meant to say what the date was, but it was like March. It was the last Thursday in March of 2024. And I know this because we were preparing to go to Florida for spring break. And I had therapy that morning at 11 a.m. I had therapy. And I was sharing with her, like, just in this space in life, I was really tired in this season. I was very, very tired. I was really exhausted mentally and physically, just exhausted. I had so much going on at work. I had a coworker who had lost her husband during this period of time. And so for a while, I had been doing 2 jobs. And then there was just a lot of changes that were happening. at my employer. And it was fast. Everything was moving super fast, a lot going on. And I was exhausted. I was exhausted. But I had therapy that morning at 11 a.m. And we're, kind of going through some things. Came out of that session and got back to work, proceeded throughout my day. Nothing, out of the ordinary. And probably about 3:30, 3:45, I get a Teams message from my former manager. And he tells me, so he says, "Do you have a moment?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we jump on a call. And let me say this is a brand new manager who I've only been reporting to for, so this is March, so maybe 3 months, if that. More like 2 months, because we had been formally introduced towards the end of December, right before we closed for the holiday. So he says, "Can you chat for a minute?" I was like, "Sure." So get on the call, and we have a conversation about I could be possibly, well, at that point it was a not possibly. The possibly part was um being let go. It was either I was going to be demoted or I was going to be laid off. To which I'm on the phone like, hmm? And there's a little bit of backstory here that he and I had had a conversation about some other things that a former manager had shared with him, as far as it relates to the reorg in our areas. And there was a little bit of confusion. Not a little bit, there was a lot of confusion about everything that was going on. And at that time, I'm just like, okay, well, just keep me abreast of, but I didn't think that those things were going to impact me. I just thought, we're getting a little bit of clarity. And it really wasn't even about people um, losing their jobs. It was more about people, uh, titles changing and things of that nature. So nothing was related to people being let go. There was just, job titles changing, so that they would be more in line with the market and all of this. So, nothing led me to believe that there was any issues with my employment. So when I hear this, I'm like, say what? And me being the person that I am, I'm not going to let you see me sweat because we're on camera. And so I'm like in shock and thinking like, okay, And he said, "I know this is a lot. I know you're getting ready to go on vacation." And my friend is like, he could have told you that when you came back from vacation, but that did not happen. It's 2025, so I'm going to move forward. And I was like, yeah, but, so I'm like totally in shock, like in shock. So I send my best friend who also, works from home. I send her a message in Polo and I am bawling. I'm just bawling. And after I talked to her, I waited a little bit because my husband, he works from home too. I needed to gather myself so that I could share this with him. And God bless him. When I did share it with him later on that evening, after he's off from work, had a moment to, catch his breath, he was mad because obviously he's team me. But he was just very encouraging, and just like, "I'm here for you." Basically, like, you don't need them. You're better, all the things that you would want a supportive partner to do, right? So, of course, I'm beside myself. I'm upset. This experience has threw me for a loop. And I'm just like, all that I've done, this, and later on, I'm going to go back and share a little bit more, but about about the season and the work that I've done leading up to this. But for the purposes of now in this podcast, we're just focused on what happened. So, and I've been at this job for 16 and a half years. So I'm like, okay, let me gather myself. So, I'm upset. I'm like, okay, fine. But in my mind, I'm already planning, okay, what's next for me? I gotta get my resume together, which was kind of already together just because I'd already updated my information when moving to Georgia. So the next day is Friday. I'm in the house and like I said, we're going on spring break to the beach in Florida. And I'm up cleaning the bathroom so, I can get the house in order as much as I can before we head out to Florida. And I'd taken the day off because I'm not working. I hadn't intended to be off because we weren't leaving until Saturday, but obviously I'm taking a sick day Friday. Okay? Period. I'm in the bathroom and I'm cleaning my bathroom in my primary room, and I get a call and it says healthcare. So I pick up the phone and I'm talking to the woman on the phone, and it's the nurse, and she's beginning to tell me that I have some abnormal test results. And the next thing I hear, it sounds like Charlie Brown. And I could have passed out when she's talking to me. And so somehow, some way, I had moved to my bed and I sat down and I'm listening to her. And I'm listening to the information she's giving me, and the next steps that I need to do, and the doctor that she's referring me to, and all of this, and going, and I mean, my head is spinning because I'm thinking to myself, not only did I just get information that I'm gonna be demoted or lose my job, now I'm faced with a health challenge. And what I know for sure and what I can tell you is that immediately the job went here and the health became the top priority. Because I'm like, what? There's nothing in the world more important than your health. Nothing more important than your health. Because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And so that became like, and when I tell you that at the time, I felt like for that season, probably I felt like I was kicked in the chest for about 6 months. quite quite frankly, I really did. I felt like I was kicked in the chest. I felt like, why me? Why am I going through this? Why, like, really? Like, God, what is this? Because not only is it my job, but also my health. And then I'm going to have this health thing going on, and I could lose my job and not have insurance. Like, what do you mean? So I had therapy at 11 a.m. one day, and less than 24 hours later, everything was turned upside down for me. Needless to say, I needed another therapy session. I did not have it, but thankfully I was able to meet with my best friend that day, and At the time when I was facing the health challenge, I was just so overwhelmed that I could not even tell her about the health scare because I just wanted to talk about the job thing. I was just confused. I really needed time to pray and to sit with God and ask Him, why am I experiencing this? Why am I going through this? This is not fair. Why this? Why this? Why this way? And so we went through that whole week. Um, and I never said anything to my husband about the health, the because there was no diagnosis. It was, my lab work is really off and something is going on and we need to figure it out. And I just did not want to deal with two things on our spring break. I couldn't. But when we came home that following Friday, I finally shared with him. And again, to have a supportive partner, to have a supportive husband who loves me and has really always encouraged me in whatever it was, has always told me, you should be doing this. You could do this. You should be an entrepreneur. Like all the things that I've wanted to do, from getting a master's degree to doing different certifications to when I had an event planning business, supported that. When I did virtual assisting, supported that. Like whatever it is that I wanted to do, professionally, personally, he has supported. And he's just been a complete jewel to my life. And going through this season of my life and that experience, I couldn't have asked for a better husband to go through that with. His words of encouragement, his, even the emotion that he felt going through that. Because when you're going through these things in life, you're not going through them by yourself. You know, my best friend, my husband, were just really, they were the closest ones to me at this time that I felt comfortable to share it with, because I did not want to scare my mother unnecessarily, because she was going through her own health challenges at the time. But the reason that I wanted to share specifically this in this video is because God allowed that to happen the way that it did. Because if it had just been my job that I was being laid off from, then he knows me, he knows his child. And I would have been like, oh, okay, you gonna demote me, or you gonna lay me? Bet. Keep your little job. Don't worry about me, because he knows Cat. He knows what I would have done, right? He knows I'd have been like, whatever. I got this. I don't need your little job. But it had to be where it was the job and then it was the health challenge, because the health scare, because I had to have something where I just felt like I was completely weak. I didn't have anything else. I didn't have any recourse to, because there was nothing that I could do to control the health. I felt like I could control the job situation, but the health, I can't do anything with that. And so that's why it had to be boom, boom, the way that it was. And I was quickly, I won't say quickly, I realized within that time frame that in your weakest moments, that God is always there. Because nothing happened for me quickly when I'm trying to connect with physicians and trying to get see specialists and all these different things. Nothing moved quickly for me. Nothing at all moved quickly for me. I had to go with it. Everything was like going at snail's pace, where it was like, oh my God, why are they taking so long to call me back? Why is this happening? Why aren't people getting back to me quickly? I need this, I need that. When all I really needed was God. When all I really needed was to sit at his feet and say, Lord, I don't know what's happening right now. I don't know why I'm experiencing this. I don't know why you're allowing it. But I need you to help me so that I don't lose my mind. I need you to help me because I don't understand why this is happening. I need you to help me because I can't help myself. And when you're in a place where you can't help yourself, and you totally and completely release those things to God, oh my gosh, he steps in. He steps in if you will allow him to. And he stepped in for me. So I'm sharing that because sometimes God has to get our attention. Sometimes the whispers don't work. I just had a conversation with a friend of mine about the whispers that she heard, but maybe ignored. And the same for me, there were whispers. There were times when I knew I did not have joy in the work that I was doing. There was times when I knew that I wanted to do something else, but I didn't know what that was. But then I wasn't creating a space to kind of find that out. I was bombarded with everything else, distractions. And so in that time, he allowed those things back to back because he knew he knows me and he knows how to get my attention. And some may understand and some may not understand. I am in a completely different place mentally. I mean, your girl was in despair. I was in despair. I was it made me be more vulnerable, not just with God, but with those around me, with people. Because that's all I got. All I got is vulnerable. Like, I need help. I need you to pray for me. I need you to, I relied on my mentor. I needed prayer and I needed the help and the support of other people because I was so weak and I was just weak. And when you get weak, you need help. And as I sit here and I say that, I realize that that's why he allowed it. Like, I know why he allowed it as far as the vision and where I'm supposed to be moving, what I'm supposed to create, what I'm supposed to build in this next station in life, in this next season of life. But he also allowed it so that I could be completely weak so that people could help me. Because for so long, I thought I could do everything by myself. Because I lived for years in pain and in trauma, still living something from the past. And I'm laughing because those of you who are listening to this audio and don't see the actual video element to this podcast, my dog, Miss Muffins, just jumped on the couch next to me. But again, he allowed that because in that weakness, the scripture says his strength is made perfect in our weakness. And he was able to do that because I relied totally and completely on him. And then secondly, because I needed to have people around me and the people allow the people around me to support me in a way that I never had before, to be completely vulnerable, to not have it together. Because girl, you ain't got it all together. You just don't. And I will never have it all together if I don't have my faith and if I don't have my relationship with Christ. So everything that happened last year on that day, although it was a shock at the time, there were whispers from God all along. And the discomfort that I felt in my job, in the things that I didn't want to do. I sat back on the deck with my best friend probably in October of 2023. These two events happened in March of 2024. In October of 2023, I told my best friend that I wanted to do something different. And she said, just live your life in God. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. But she told me, she said, just live your life. God will make a way for you. He will make a way for you. Another thing that happened was in January of 2024 when, LinkedIn posted things where they're talking about, celebrating your anniversary. It was 16 years. My best friend comments on the post and says, not congratulations, because that wouldn't be her. She says on the post, wow, 16 years? She said, I can't wait to see what God has in store for you next. That's what she said on that post. And when she said it, I was like, really? So there were things, there were whispers, there were things all along the way that now I can look back and say, he was like a hard stop. All right, I done let you ride this long enough, girl. Time's up. And here I am. Here I am, walking in a new season of life. So I think the theme to this episode is that if there are whispers, create space to listen. Create space to listen. And if you're a woman like me, he knows his child and who is strong-willed and adamant about doing things her way, he has to scream and slam on brakes. There is an Instagram meme where a guy is riding in a car and Jesus is driving. And Jesus has he has to have the gas all the way down to the floor. And the man is hollering and screaming in the background and saying, Jesus, you're going the wrong way. That's how I felt. It's like I've put all this effort into this. He says, okay, and next, I got something better. So that's all that I have for today. I think that's enough. I hope that the goal is to, as I go through this journey, is to always share the lesson that I learned throughout this time, the lessons, S on the end. And that's just slow down and listen to the whispers, stay present, and remain available. And the other thing to that too is this. It doesn't matter if he whispers, slams on brakes, your test is specifically designed for you. That's it. I think that we should take heed to the things that people say. That's not what I'm saying. It's not that I'm saying that you shouldn't take heed and you should know, because I like to hear people's story. I like to get nuggets, but everything that he allows is tailor-made for you. There are things that will happen. Sometimes we do put ourselves in situations that can be avoided, but he will still get the glory out of whatever. He will get the glory out of whatever. So I hope this helped. It feels good to sit here to be reflective and to think about that time and to have something that I can go back to and for myself and also share. So I want to say thank you so much for listening. Remain present. Listen to the whispers. But even if you didn't, he is all that you need for every test or storm. So take care, and I'll talk to you soon. See you next Wednesday.